I am really curious to see how many people think this is in the MCU. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking the brand new Norwegian Netflix series, Ragnarok. I need your comments down below. Were you looking forward to this series? This is a non-spoiler review, and if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Okay, so Ragnarok, a small Norwegian town experiencing warm winters and violent downpours, seems to be headed for another Ragnarok, unless someone intervenes in time. There are a lot of great character actors in here. One in Jonas Strand Gravely. I knew the face. I recognized him. Could not put a finger on where he was from. And it was the 22nd of July, the Netflix film that came out, I believe, 2 years ago at this point. Really great in that movie. Really great in this series. And a couple of actors in here that I just didn't know anything about. The main character, played by David Stakston, doesn't even have a photo on IMDb. So a definite newcomer here. A very awkward character at first, and this really starts out as not a coming-of-age story necessarily, but a family that moves into a new area. They're the new kids, and, you know, most of the time in these shows and movies, the new kids are looked upon as the weirdos or the freaks that have to sit by themselves at lunch. But the trope that I get sick of in shows like this is to make the really cool guy or someone who's, like, reasonably, okay, this guy could be completely normal, and then for some strange reason, he's an outcast because he's a new kid? I mean, if that's how people act, sure, but it wasn't that way when I was growing up. But this guy comes in, and just the awkwardness that is showcased from his character, and I'm not saying this about the actor, but I do think that's how good he did in this show, is he portrayed that perfectly. Now, does he look a bit older than maybe some of the actors? Yeah, but he did a great job, and you really you understand why he is the way that he is, and certain personality traits and the way that he goes about handling conversations. But unlike these other shows, and that's what I really liked about Ragnarok, honestly, is it kind of subverted a few of those tropes. He does end up finding friendships and makes relationships fairly quickly with some that are also outcasts, but it's more of an acceptance in a show like this, which I thoroughly enjoy. But then, while all of this coming-of-age stuff is happening with his character and his brother and a few people around town, there's this other side of the story. When they first arrive in town, he's approached by an older woman who's acting all strange around him, and you see something sparkle in his eye, and she basically says, well, the hero's journey is about to begin. And he's just standing there like, well, what? I'm sorry, ma'am. Then as we progress through the show, you see strange things beginning to happen around the small town, whether it's weather patterns changing or whenever he gets pissed off about something, he notices things aren't the way that they were. And that's what was thoroughly interesting and entertaining about this show. And at first, you're like, it's Ragnarok, and there are some hammers here and there showing up in this show. So obviously, you're going to make some Thor comparisons, but things aren't always as they seem in this show. And I would really compare this to, honestly, Percy Jackson. Now, I don't know a lot about the source material from Percy Jackson, but the basic premise of the movies that I have seen is you have this group of kids, and they realize that they are getting bestowed these powers, or we will say the abilities of the gods that have come prior, and they have to use that to fight certain things or handle certain issues or realize that it's time to save the day, or in this case, save this small town. It's the same case with Ragnarok, but I would say Ragnarok is the dark version of that. Now, when I say dark, I don't mean this show gets to crazy horror dramatic depths. It definitely attempts to go there occasionally, but this is definitely a darker show than the Percy Jackson movie, and this is definitely a show that hits on some things that you don't expect in the first episode, 2 episodes. Once it starts hitting those beats, once you learn more about these characters, once you understand that these relationships are what they seem to be for the most part, and you experience the loss or the tragedy that these characters experience. Especially, there's something that happens at the end of the first episode, and I didn't expect it. I was shocked. I was blown away that happened already. So then you have to carry that burden with you as these characters do, and that's what made Ragnarok so interesting to me. Now, were there tropes that are overutilized in this show? Absolutely. Were there nitpicks that I had with the script here and there? For sure. There were a couple of scenes where the camera would cut, I would say, 1 or 2 times too often. So we would get multiple angles of the character's face, or 2 characters on screen, whether they're kissing or whatever they're doing, and the camera would cut, and I'm just like, slow down. We need time to appreciate one shot. Why are you giving us 20 more? The movie that I watched last night, Gretel and Hansel, there was one scene with multiple cuts, and it bugged me so much. I cannot stand when movies do that unless it actually makes sense for what's happening. But when it's a normal scene, like what we got in this show, and they do so many cuts and so many camera angles, I'm just like, that's not necessary. But these are all minor critiques and complaints for a show that actually handled the technical aspect very, very well. I thought the effects were good. I thought there were times where the characters would notice something happening in the sky, or you would get a bit of foreshadowing as to what this character's abilities would be, or as to what the character was about to do, whether it's out of anger, out of rage, out of happiness, and I really liked the visual aspect of the show. It's darker. I would even say it's a bit more dull than maybe anticipated with a name like Ragnarok. You expect a lot of color, a lot of what Thor Ragnarok gave us. I think some people are going to come in expecting that. This is not a Marvel show. This has nothing to do with that character. Norse mythology has went back a long time, farther than any Marvel comic has existed. So, and I know you guys know that, but it is a show that really focuses on the mythology of these characters and who it's centered around. And that's part of the struggle with doing a non-spoiler review, is I don't actually want to reveal what characters are hit on. And then I've not even talked about the villain. There are multiple villainous characters. There's a woman who does a wonderful job, and every time she's on screen, you understand, you accept the fact that she is the way that she is for a reason. But it's really this family of not very good people. The father sticks the son on our main character to kind of follow him around and make sure that, you know, he's not doing anything to mess with the plans that they have, and they're trying to cover up multiple secrets, and it's intriguing. It's intriguing. It's a coming-of-age story that didn't get all the way there for me. I didn't feel the way that I wanted to feel about every moment and situation, and there were certain lines of quirky dialogue. I'm just like, all right, that didn't work all the way, but a lot in here that's going to grab a lot of people, that's going to bring you back for another season. Now, they do complete the story at the end of this season, but I believe there is a bigger story there. I believe there is a bigger arc for some of these characters that they could bring back for another season. Also, the fact that this is 6 episodes, and each episode is less than 50 minutes, or right at 50 minutes, I mean, it's the perfect bingeable show. I think this is one you guys could knock out easily, and you'll know after the first or second episode if it's not for you, and you're not wasting your time because it's still only a 40-something minute episode. So overall, I'll say this about Ragnarok. It was fun. I had a good time with it. Some unexpected, interesting things that happened with these characters. I had no issues with the acting. I thought the directing was really solid all the way throughout. Moments, issues that I think we can fix, we can solve within this next season. And if you expect a ton of mysticism and magic in this crazy Norse, these visual effects happening constantly, we have a few episodes of build-up. We don't have a lot of that in the finale. We don't have a ton of that when the climax comes. I think they're saving that more for future seasons. But we build, we understand what it is now, we get where these characters are coming from, and the action does begin to ramp up as this season comes to an end. So if you guys enjoyed this video, if you like what we're doing on this channel, talking every single Netflix show, let me know by smashing that thumbs up button. And come back, because later on today, the finale of BoJack Horseman. I'm going to go 76% for Ragnarok. Some really unexpected, interesting themes within this show that caught me off guard. And like I said, we can do a bit better with certain elements next season, but I had a good time. I really enjoyed myself. I hope you guys like this show. Thank you so much for watching this video. I need your comments and thoughts below. If you're going to talk spoilers, be sure to use the spoiler tag. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, this is the final day that we are going to tally votes for the Movie House Awards. If you missed the announcement video, it was earlier on in the week. You guys can find that on my YouTube channel right now. But Sunday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, we will be announcing the winners, but the entire point of this show is for you all to go and vote. So check my pinned comment on this video and most likely my next video today, and you guys can click on that link, a very safe link that takes you to vote. Vote, submit, and let us know what you all want to win all of the categories. It's kind of our version of the Oscars. Thank you all for your participation, and let's end this video.